Hey, what's good, fam? It's Kyle Henderson, a Bama Insider, talking about my prize picks for this coming weekend. What is prize picks? It's a place to play daily fantasy. You choose more or less. You make your entries. There's a promo code. You enter Roll Tide. You get 100% of what you put in. So, for example, you put in $100, you get $100 on top of that. Let's look at the college football slate for this weekend. And basically, what you do is you can make your picks 3 to 5 picks. They have Alabama football players, and that's what we're going to stick with today. So I'll go to Bryce Young, for example. Here he is on the bottom right. It looks great on your phone as well. You can hit this graphic, and it's going to open up what Bryce Young has done over the last couple games. So my question for you, and we're looking at more or less, do you think that Bryce Young is going to throw for more than 325 yards against Utah State? More or less? Let's go ahead and select that, and we'll come back to it just a second. Okay, so we got Bryce Young selected, more or less. Now let's look at the running backs for this weekend. You got to scroll down. I'm using a desktop version right now. Jahmyr Gibbs, I saw him earlier. I don't even think he had a player profile icon. Let's see where he's at. Okay, so Jahmyr Gibbs, again, click up this logo. And do you think he's going to rush for over 100 yards, more or less, against Utah State? Now, considering Utah State had a tough time stopping UConn, I think that we're going to select this one and select more than 103 yards. Let me know what you think inside the comment box. Okay, we continue. Let's look at the wide receivers. And one of the things that I wanted to tell you, when you're doing these more or less picks and you're making your daily fantasy picks, and if you see a quarterback out there, always go with the under, okay? So when you see Bryce Young, and he's supposed to rush for 6 yards, right? Remember that if the quarterback is sacked, that goes against his rushing total. I'm not saying Bryce Young is going to get sacked. Bryce Young is not going to run. You see against Georgia, he had minus 43 yards. Against Cincinnati, 12. Georgia was 40. Now, that game in the SEC Championship was an anomaly. That was the most he'd rushed for the entire season, his entire career. But other than that, don't take this 6.5. I would say under against Utah State. Okay, so let's go up to the wide receivers. You got to scroll up to the top of your screen. And we'll look to receiving yards. I think you can find Jermaine Burton on here as well. Let's keep going. Keep looking for Burton. Let me know if you guys see him. I don't think he had a player icon either. So there's Gibbs right here. This could be an interesting one. When you pull up Gibbs and how he's going to be utilized, do you think he's going to have more or less than 40 yards, 39.5 against Utah State? That might be an interesting one to check out as well. But let's go with Jermaine Burton, and just to see what they have Burton at as well in terms of the daily fantasy. I don't see where he's at. There's so many players to pick from this week. Okay, here he is, Jermaine Burton, 85 yards against Utah State. As you can see, what he did last year, that was with Georgia, different offense, different quarterback. Let's go ahead and select him. I think we're going to say more on that one as well. Okay, so to the right of your screen, you can see that we have 3 particular players selected for more or less. So Bryce Young, more than 325? Let's go with more than 325. I think he's going to have a nice little week 1. Jahmyr Gibbs, over 100 yards. I think they let it roll, and I think Gibbs has a nice showing. I'm going to say more than 85 yards for Burton as well. Okay, so over here, you're going to make your entry pick. If you want $20, it shows to win 100 and so forth. So if you wanted to put 100, and you would win 500. So that's how you play Prize Picks. Go to Prize Picks, and remember, your promo code is Roll Tide. You enter Roll Tide, and you get 100% of what you put in. So you put in $100, you get $100 on top of what you put in. Have fun, play daily fantasy at Prize Picks. Kyle Henderson at BamaInsider.com. Let's see how these picks go this weekend for more or less on Prize Picks.